welcome back to the Whatnauts Reactor Core. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined by Ignacio Rojas.
Hello there.
And Melissa Wilkinson.
Yes.
Yeah, yes, indeed. We are here to talk about Moon Knight Part 2. This is our second half, so 4, 5, and 6 is what we are talking about this week. This time here on the Reactor Core. Finale happened today. Yep. Doctor Strange comes out this week. For us here in the United States, it comes out tomorrow. Ignacio has already seen it. So don't spoil anything.
I'll try. We'll see.
Man, I am jealous that you have seen both of them now. I just have to wait one more day. But yeah, let's dive right in. Moon Knight, our second half of the coverage. I feel like from last time we were all fairly positive on the show.
Yeah,
not necessarily good, like super excited and glowing, but like, hey, this is good. It's a good, like, middle of the road Marvel show. Ignacio, let's start with you. Where are you now that you've seen the entirety of Moon Knight?
I'm still pretty high on it. I enjoyed these 3 episodes, I would say, as much as the previous 3 episodes. And I think we got a lot of good character development for both Marc and Steven here. Sure. And I think that might elevate this half over the past half. But yeah, overall, I'm super liked it a lot.
Cool.
Good.
Double thumbs up. Melissa, what about you?
I also had a good time with Moon Knight. The wonderful performances, great visual designs for so many things in this series. Yeah. And the problems I had with it aren't new. It's the issue that I've had with many of these MCU shows where they set up a lot of dominoes and by the final episode they don't knock all of them down. Every one of these finales has felt like 10 minutes too short.
Yeah. I kind of agree. I feel like I ended up very mixed. I think what you guys have been saying is spot on. But I feel like this is also going to be one that the more I sit with, the more I'm not going to like it. If that makes sense. I do have to say, episode 5 was incredible of this show. I think that may have been one of, if not, I mean, it's certainly up there for, like, I think my favorite, like, of all of the MCU Disney Plus shows. I think that one in particular may have been my favorite. Of course, WandaVision had that one up there, which is a similar thing where it goes into all of her past and her grief and trauma and stuff like that. But man, I felt Oscar Isaac was on top of his game, and that was award worthy in episode 5.
Incredible the work that he put into the show. Throughout all of it, even with episode 6, him going back and forth between Steven and Marc, he was great at it. He was very great at it. But yeah, the performances making you believe that these are 2 different characters, but it's still the same actor speaking to himself. I thought that he did a great job overall throughout the whole series.
I think my problems start to come in when you look at the details of things. I think the show wanted the kind of post-credit scene of episode 6 to be this big reveal. It's one some of us kind of saw coming, but I don't think it's as big of a reveal as they wanted it to be. And I think that reveal also doesn't make sense with some of the fiction and the rules that they presented us of, like, if Marc and Steven are dead, if they're in the afterlife, sure, we did see that extra coffin that was there. It was around, but it was just there's some like not all of this is lining up correctly. There was also when Ahmet gets Farid, right? Like she is supposed to be this thing, like this they call her the world's first boogeyman, right? That she will punish people even if they haven't committed a sin yet, but if they will in the future, right? They will. And the first thing she does is go against that. It just seems a little strange to me.
I don't know.
That was the choice there.
No, because the moment where she let Ethan Hawke's character leave, even though he was completely ready for her to take his life, I think that was more something about not necessarily about justice, but about, okay, I have a plan. You have helped me with the plan.
Yeah.
I need
just using him as a tool.
Yeah, I need an avatar. You can be my avatar because there's clearly they're committed. But yeah, let's go out and punish everyone that has to be punished.
Yeah, it's just like it's those things. Like some of this stuff can be explained away, but I think overall, I think I left the show feeling like a lot of it was just empty. If that makes sense, like I feel like the show should have been longer to explain this, to explain Ahmet's thinking behind this, so we knew exactly what her plan was and why she spared him better, or to just explain the ending, to explain who Jake is, all of that, just like to let things sit of like why they happened the way they did. Now Layla also is an avatar. She's her own superhero. Like it just things happened so fast and didn't really get much time of like much screen time to be fully explained and explored. This is how I feel like it.
Yeah,
but I liked it.
I understand.
Go ahead.
No, like I did. The only problem I have with the show is that there are things we don't spend enough time on. Like, I do want more. I want things to be fleshed out. The twist of the post-credit scene, the reveal with Jake, is something nice for the audience, but because it is just Jake and Khonshu and Arthur Harrow who they immediately kill, we don't get to see anybody else react to this knowledge. We don't know that Marc and Steven are aware of Jake. We don't know that Layla's aware of Jake. That's what I want, to spend this whole season on the Marc and Steven dynamic and to introduce this third facet to it, and don't get them continuing to develop in relation to that third facet. I was kind of hoping like they were going to figure it out, or Jake would reveal himself to them instead of just to us, the audience.
To me, I think that it is good the way they left it, because we got a good development between Marc and Steven, and I think having, was it Jake, having him there, clearly he's gonna be the one working with Khonshu, even though the other two are not gonna be happy with that. So to me, that's a good setup for a second season where it is gonna be a conflict between we share the same body, yet Jake want to go with Khonshu, and we do not want to go there.
It's telling me yes, but my body it's telling me no.
So I think that this season we got, okay, Marc and Steven, you both share a body, you have to figure it out. At the end of it, we're brothers or whatever. I think that's the thing for season one. I think that it could be a good thing for it to turn it around and have it, okay, this other personality, we are fighting against it.
If they do a season two,
if they do,
I just want to say, if they do a season two, because it's still kind of up in the air. Originally Kevin Feige said that this show was made with a season two, with the option for a season two in mind. But then creator, I think, like one of the directors kind of was like, it's a limited series, and then I think Oscar Isaac said something else like,
his contract
this is yeah, his contract.
He only has a contract for 1 season. Did you see? I think it was Disney Plus, the tweet that they put out.
That's what I was about to mention next.
Yeah, that they put out something along the lines of, hey, go watch the series finale of Moon Knight. And then they deleted it and changed it to go watch the season finale of Moon Knight.
Yeah. So if they do a second season, I feel like it'd be really interesting to, as much as I would want them to continue the story, I also think it'd be interesting to see like the events of season 1 through Jake's perspective.
Yes.
Of what's happening there. Because there is all of this missing time still that we don't know what happened, except that he kicked ass. Right. Like,
who killed the first goldfish?
Exactly. Who knows? So there's lots of things that they could do with that. Or it might just be that, you know, he shows up in Werewolf by Night or some kind of Midnight Suns thing. Who knows?
Excited for the possibilities. I do also like the dynamic going forward where Khonshu has officially released Marc and Steven from being his avatar, but Jake is still under contract with Khonshu.
Yeah.
And you know, what if Jake has this Moon Knight persona? He's got his own cool white outfit, and then Marc or Steven take prevalence and then they don't. Like maybe we don't see the Moon Knight we've seen. We don't see the Mr. Knight that we've seen before. Khonshu released them. They can't do that anymore. So we've got these 3 alters and only one of them can actually do the superhero stuff.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I want to switch gears a bit and talk about some of the like Egyptian mythology. And Melissa, you mentioned a lot of the like design of the characters and the sets and the outfits and stuff like that. Yeah, what like just more in depth, like what were some of your favorite designs or outfits or the way that the Egyptian gods looked like on screen?
They all look cool. Dude, we've known Khonshu since the beginning. This spooky bird skeleton. I love to meet Taweret. We know because there's a giant statue of Taweret on the Lost Island. That's a plot point if you get deep into watching Lost. So I've only I've known vaguely this, you know, this god, this entity as like a big dilapidated statue. So to see her like brought to life as this jolly hippo lady. Hello. Such a treat.
Your ears.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we get Ammit brought to life, and Ammit's huge. I love that we got to see the MCU's first kaiju fight in this season finale. Just massive. They gobble up souls. They get real big. They smash into the pyramids. I like that we got to have that.
Yeah, there's so many interesting things. I think for me, especially the design work on Layla's costume when she finally gets in her thing. I according to Marvel, they confirmed her as Red Scarab, who's a character I know nothing about.
Isn't it Scarlet Scarab?
Yes, Scarlet. Red, Scarlet.
You gotta get that alliteration in there, Kyle. Otherwise, it's not a real comic book.
Yeah, they're just like the costume that she had on, I thought was fantastic. That looked awesome. But that in a weird way though looked more practical than most of Moon Knight's stuff. Like he often looked CGI. Which I was a little disappointed about. There were scenes where it's like, okay, he actually has on a suit, you know, that looks like that. But yeah, I think this is one of the better Disney Plus, like Marvel Disney Plus shows in terms of how it looks. Just the set designs and stuff like that. I enjoyed it a lot in that regard. Thoughts on that stuff, Ignacio?
I agree that I really liked a lot how they looked. I talked about last time we did the review that I was wondering how they would do Amit, because Amit is part crocodile.
Yeah.
Crocodile.
Crocodile.
Crocodile. That was what I was missing. I was
Almost,
like, well, I know there's something missing there. Crocodile. Part crocodile, part lion, part hippo. And yeah, I think that they nailed it. To be fair, it was, I think, mostly the crocodile part that stands out there. Mm-hmm. But I think that they nailed that also. Toweret, even though it is a talking giant hippo, I think that they made it work. They made it a believable character there. And I love that. I love the depiction of the Egyptian mythology, religion, with the duat and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I liked it a lot, and I like how much Egyptian religion, if you can call that, ancient Egyptian religion was in this show. Yeah, I really like that.
It's kind of fascinating to me is that is one of the aspects I went away I walked away from this show being the most interested in, of just I kind of want more of them. Like they're the ones that I like. I want to know more about Jake and what happens to Steven and Mark now that they've worked things out. But like, I want to know more about the Egyptian god. Like, what's happening?
Yeah.
Has Thor met them? Will they show back up in Thor: Love and Thunder when Gore the God Butcher shows up? Like, what's happening here? Like, I suddenly care about them more.
We got the mention of Osiris, but we never saw Osiris, so I wonder if it looks like this. If you didn't know, cards. If you didn't know, the Japanese name is Osiris. This card.
Yeah, just like there's lots of really interesting tidbits in this show and things that they could explore. And
which like is that. Why things like everything going on in the duat, like this is a magic, I wouldn't say magic system, but like this is a set of rules that we don't know yet, that have like barely been established. So if there's like lapses in logic, I don't know if they are those, or if they're all the stuff is going to be explained more in the future. None of that stuff really bothered me.
I gotcha. Yeah. So I want to ask you guys about this. When this show was first coming out, they described it as Indiana Jones meets Fight Club. How would you guys say that's accurate? How good are the Indiana Jones aspects of this, and how good are the Fight Club aspects of this? Because I felt like it did a decent job of kind of exploring each of those. I don't want to say they're totally satisfying on each end, but I think it was enough to just be like, yes, they checked the box. I liked what they did. Hopefully we get more down the road. Do you guys have similar thoughts? Ignacio, didn't some of that strike you as maybe you liked one more than the other? You want more tomb rating? You want more like, what is going on with reality stuff?
I haven't seen Fight Club, so I cannot talk about that aspect.
Okay.
But for the Indiana Jones part, I think that there is a lot of Indiana Jones vibes in the show. Of course, you have them being in the tombs, which is very reminiscent of Indiana Jones. But I think that some of the action set pieces kind of remind me of Indiana Jones. And
sure,
it isn't an Indiana Jones show, Indiana Jones-esque show, but there are Indiana Jones vibes there.
Sure. And then that like videotape that he has in the asylum of that fake
Tomb
like,
Buster.
That is like absolutely a spoof on Indiana Jones with the Tomb Raider like names spoof on that, which it was kind of interesting to see. The assistant. So in Indiana Jones, the assistant that plays the character that screams at the skeleton in that scene is Alfred Molina, who played Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man. And if I'm not mistaken, that was like one of his first roles.
He's in there.
Yeah.
So, throw me that.
Interesting connection there. But yeah, Melissa, did you feel like it did a good job with both of those facets?
I think this is a show that it did meet its premise. It did what it set out to do. We've got this very empathetic and compelling portrait of these different characters who need to share this body with each other. And we've got, a tomb romp.
Sure.
I did like at the beginning of episode 4 how it was very much mummy stuff, like the mummy, like they're going through caves and pyramids and looking for clues and solving puzzles and things. And the first half of that episode is pretty much just Marc and Steven and Layla. Like you only see 2 actors on screen for a while. And I dug that a lot. I like that the show put that much time into, you're really going to live in one of these treasure hunting adventures or historical clue finding adventures for at least like half of this episode. I like that. But this show did have a lot of very cool sets. I love Arthur Harrow's like psychology office in that liminal in between space, is all white office. We've got some very cool visuals, and then other times it's like, yes, that's sand and rocks. And like I would kind of glaze over. I'm like, I wish I could see a cool building. Not to call a pyramid not a building. I guess a pyramid's a building, but
Yeah. I see. I'm interested also if they continue with Moon Knight for them to continue those kinds of adventuring stories mixed with some like more mystical, magical villains and stuff like that. Like I can picture Moon Knight fighting zombies, and I can picture him fighting like creatures and monsters, right?
Creatures,
more, like I don't necessarily want to see him, or just MCU characters in general, always fighting some kind of humanoid character.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like I mean, we have this possibility of Werewolf by Night down the road. Yeah. Like I want more monsters. Like just have him fight a monster, and the monster is the bad guy. There's no just I want to purify the world of the souls, and then no, it's just a monster. Have them fight a monster that they don't know how to fight, right?
There just is a werewolf. There just is a Frankenstein. What are we gonna do about that?
Yeah, Moon Knight can go take care of it.
I thought the show was gonna have a bit more horror than it did, and in like the first episode or two, like when the jackal is like stalking Steven through the museum, that delivered on that. There's some creepier stuff, and it gets into very harrowing things. All that's mostly what episode 5 is, a different sort of psychological terror. But yeah, I could have done with a bit more horror, classic horror. I hope if they do more, if they have a season 2, that they come back around to that a little bit. And if we get the Werewolf by Night, seems like definitely in the horror genre. And I hope that when we get Midnight Suns, that'll expand on it as well. I hope, we got Werewolf by Night. We got a little bit of this. From what I've heard about Multiverse of Madness, it's very horror forward. And I hope that's something we'll continue to see going forward. I want Midnight Suns to be scary.
Yeah. That'd be awesome. That would be good indeed. Kind of final thoughts on Moon Knight, stuff that we missed, Ignacio?
Yeah, one thing that I didn't really like about the final episode was maybe the last 10-15 minutes. How I agree that the show for sure needed 10 more minutes, 20 more minutes, because it feels like it was getting to a good place with the fighting, and you have fights in two planes. You have Moon Knight fighting Ethan Hawke, and then you had in the background Ahmed fighting Khonshu. Yeah. And I really like that, but then the way that it gets resolved, it gets resolved so quick, all just to get another tease for the third personality. I think that that it shouldn't have been that. It felt too rushed, too out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. And then once they finally get Ahmed on Ethan Hawke, he's about to kill him. I feel like the turn there between I'm gonna kill him, don't do it, Steven. Okay, I will not do it. I will not kill for you. Kill you. You kill. You be the one that kills him.
Yeah, like it's one of those things that I had an issue with too. It's like, well, it makes sense, but they just don't explore it enough. They just it seems like they skipped a few steps to get there. And like it would make sense that if Khonshu is starting to sound more like Ahmet, that Mark might have an issue with that. That Steven might have an issue with that. That makes sense, but it just happened like that, right? And it was just like, oh, okay, sure. I guess this is a new status quo. Okay, well, that's fine, I guess. But yeah, so
and then after that, it gets resolved. I think that even after that part, the resolution is also a bit too short. It goes from, okay, now we're finished. It goes to the whatever's going on in his mind, the mental institution. That gets resolved, and then cut to them waking up in the bed, and that's it. I was expecting more with them, but no. Yes. I think that there should have been more there.
I'm with
Agreed.
you. I was missing these closed loops on things like the relationship with Layla. Like, have you divorced Layla? What is your relationship status right now? Are Mark and Layla going to get back together? But at least, I can see how it might not work, but can I at least get an acknowledgement that they have come to those terms? Work?
Well,
I don't know. Right. Steven, show me how you guys answer that question. Show me that exploration.
Well, Steven
of Layla maybe continuing to be married to Mark, but I don't consider myself married to Steven. I think Steven and I are just friends.
But Steven was clearly falling in love with her, and then Mark also has feelings for her. So I'm wondering, what's the situation like? Is she with both personalities now?
How did they do a threesome with two people? I'm telling you.
Switch back and forth.
There you go.
I wanted a clearer sense of how that left off.
Yeah.
This is more minor, but at the end of the series, what do you do for a living? Because Steven's fired from the museum, and I don't know if Mark still has paid mercenary gigs to do. So how are these two friends making a living for themselves, and they're two goldfish they have to feed?
Jake, can I Uber a ride to the museum or something?
They don't have access to Jake's bank account. How are Mark and Steven making money? This is what I want to know. Did they try to go back to the museum?
Also,
maybe this is the opening. Maybe they'll go work where Dane Whitman works.
Yeah,
he just goes to different museum.
Also,
potentially.
So they beat Ethan Hawke's character in Cairo, in Egypt. So did they just take him and then put him in a mental institution?
Yeah, Sienkiewicz psychiatric facility.
I did notice
or something
that. Yes,
like that. Yeah, a little Easter egg there to Bill Sienkiewicz. I guess they just put him on a plane and delivered him to some facility, but then also got him out Like,
also,
the whole thing is just weird.
Yeah, a guy walks in and the nurse just hands over the patient. He goes like, I'm gonna take care of it, nurse. Don't worry. I'm in regular clothes. I clearly do not belong here. I'll take care of it.
He's just got a good smile. What a handsome man. I'd trust anyone with him, right?
Real smooth talker.
I don't know, but yeah.
Also, shout out to the confirmation that he is the first Latino superhero in the MCU.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There you go. I was thinking the other day about Roberto da Costa, Sunspot from the New Mutants. Sure, and I'm like, what? He's got superpowers, but he doesn't. None of those kids do anything super heroic necessarily. They're just trying to survive. So I don't know if he'd be classified as such.
Also not MCU.
I mean,
technically
in the MCU.
I know. I just want to shout out.
New Mutants isn't in
it. I know it isn't, but Sunspot exists.
Sunspot.
Shout out to Sunspot.
Because if then we're counting Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and there is a Latino superhero there.
Yo. Yep. He's cool. I think my final thoughts on Moon Knight is that at the end of the day, for better or worse, this could go either way. This felt like the end of a single volume of comics.
Yes.
Right? Like when we read something on the review show and we read comics, we usually read the first 2 volumes. That's about how much we can do in a week. That's also usually like a single storyline. But in the few that we've done that has like the origin story, or like, here's the first adventure of this character written by this new creative team, this is what it feels like, where it's like, this is a good story. There's a lot to explore there, but man, this felt fast. It feels kind of empty. It feels like there could be more in there, and hopefully they explore it down the road, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I think, I agree that this story doesn't feel entirely complete, but they've set up a good basis with a set of characters and an actor who I think everybody is really taken by. I can't wait to see what Marc and Steven and Jake all do next, and in what different ways they could show up. Maybe we do see Moon Knight again, or maybe we just see Steven.
He seemed like he liked the role too. It seemed like in all of like what he was saying online, it seemed like he had fun playing Marc and Steven and Jake and Moon Knight, all of them. Yeah.
So, and maybe this is the extent of all the alters, but maybe at one point they need to go undercover, and so Oscar Isaac gets to do another accent.
Maybe. Well, there you go. That is our thoughts on the second half of Moon Knight. We enjoyed it. We hope you did too. But yeah, that is about it. So Ignacio, where can the people find you on the internet?
The people can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojasb. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
Go. And Melissa, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Wilkywit. That's WILKYWIT. And listen to my other podcasts, Saturday Morning Obscurities.
Yo, you guys can find me at Yo Kyle Springer on Twitter. And if you want to stay up to date with all of the stuff that we do here at The Whatnots, we are at The Whatnots on Twitter. So please go like, share, and subscribe. And with that, that wraps up this podcast. We will see you real soon for our spoiler cast for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Until then, I wonder how that movie is.
Bye.